ton of new money. Young quarterback, Kyler Murray. Finally got that deal, man. 5 years, $230.5 million, $160 million guaranteed. And now he'll have the second highest paid QB average on a per year basis at $46.1 million per year, only behind Patrick Mahomes.
Oh no,
Aaron Rodgers.
50.
Yeah, Aaron
He's
Rodgers.
higher than Mahomes.
Yeah, he's higher than Mahomes, higher than Josh Allen, higher than Deshaun Watson. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Dak at 40 too,
yeah,
right?
dude. Yeah. So, what's your initial reaction, man, to Kyler's new deal, man?
Kind of had to do it.
Yeah.
He's overpaid, obviously. He's not better than Mahomes or Josh Allen. But if you're the Cardinals, you really haven't been consistently relevant for a while, since like the Larry Fitzgerald days with like Kurt Warner. You had that 1 year with Bruce Arians and Carson Palmer where you were pretty good, made it to the NFC Championship, I believe. But outside of that, you've been pretty much a dumpster fire as an organization. You draft Kyler Murray, first overall. He comes in, gets you to what, like 5-8, or was it 5-9 at the time?
At one time,
which was a big upgrade for them being, I think it was 2-10. Yeah, that was the year you signed down there, right? They were 2-14, something like that. And they fired their head coach, bringing Kingsbury. Yeah. And then you go 8-8 in his second year. He's putting up good stats, 2 Pro Bowls, 1 Offensive Rookie of the Year in his rookie season. And then last year was solid too. It's just I don't really like the faltering down the stretch. At the same time, he's still young. You could see the talents there. I mean, he's in that 11-12 range of top 10 quarterbacks we're talking about. We had him in like our honorable mentions. So, I think he's deserving of the second contract, the franchise quarterback contract. It's an overpay, but I feel like if you're the Cardinals, you have to do it. Like, what were you going to do, not have Kyler Murray on your roster this year? Basically built your whole offense around him. You brought a coach in specifically for him. You're in win-now mode. You could make the playoffs again. Like, you got a good team, so had to sign him. I don't know if they could have negotiated a little bit better, got it down to maybe like 42, 43, or at least like Dak at 40. Kyler's agent deserves a raise. I'm sorry.
Hey, man, salute Kyler Murray, man. Anytime you get able to get that money, man, get that money. If they overpay, that's on them, man. But you get that bag. Just this whole offseason, man, coming full circle with this thing, it looks like it worked out. The social media, taking the hardball approach, right? First, when we talked about scrubbing the social media, got all the attention. That kind of put it on notice nationally that he had some type of issue, some type of grievance with the Cardinals, right? Then we started to get the back and forth between them and him, them putting out their little, what we do like about him and stuff like that, and obviously having his rebuttal. But now to see where it's at right now, man, where, he has that second highest per year, $46 million. I mean, it worked out for him. Now, if you're the Cardinals, I'm not surprised that they did it. But I'm not surprised because it's the Cardinals in the sense that they, like you said, they're a struggling franchise, right? They really haven't had a lot of sustained consistency. We talked about them drafting Josh Rosen at 10th overall 1 year, and then the following year, you draft Kyler Murray, right? So to have 2 top 10 quarterbacks in back-to-back drafts and potentially not have either one of them with the second contract would look just dumbfounded, right? Like, how could that be? So I do feel like they had to pay Kyler. The not surprised part is that, they folded to his request. They folded to whatever he was asking. Clearly, this 46, that's what they were saying we'll pay, because me and you, and I'm sure a large majority of people, don't think Kyler Murray is a top 10 quarterback. That's why we didn't have him on our list. We said that you could talk about him as a fringe guy, but even with that, it was still, what part of the fringe? Is he the 11th best quarterback, or is he the 15th?
People probably have him as high as like 7 or 8, and
as low
people like
as,
us probably you go to like 13 or something. Like that. That's his range.
But it's like when you talk about that context, but you're paying him as if he is the number 1 guy, or in this case, the number 2 guy. That's where you have the issue. You're paying a good player, great player money. And that's how your franchise struggles. That's how your franchise gets stuck in them ruts. Because right now, I don't think that Kyler Murray is going to do enough even next year that's going to take them and make them legit contenders. Like, we're talking about, hey, you got to watch out for them Cardinals, man. They real like that. I don't feel like that. Like, when we talk about Aaron Rodgers, you still feel like, okay, even though we know the past couple of years in the postseason, Rodgers hasn't delivered and given them that long run, you know what he is, though. regardless of how we critique the little stuff with him, we know what he is on a week in and week out basis. Whereas with Kyler, that's not the case right now. So, like I said, for him, man, I'm glad that he got that money. For the Cardinals, it's just like, bro, you got to have a little more, take a little bit of a stance with this thing, man, because I just don't see how you justify paying him.
He still had his rights, too.
Exactly. For the next 3 years, realistically.
Franchise tags, yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like...
That's what the Cowboys did with Dak.
Exactly. So once again, I'm just like, why commit to that? Like, I just don't think you had to do that. Now, the guy that's winning in all this is Lamar Jackson. Yeah. If you're paying Kyler Murray $46.1 million, Lamar, you have... What can you say if you're Baltimore?
Good for the Steelers.
It's a great situation right now, yeah. Because I'm just like, if I'm Lamar Jackson, and I personally feel like the market eventually will correct itself.
This is like the wide receiver bubble.
Yeah,
potentially.
it's gonna correct itself. But the argument against Lamar was, hey man, is he a guy that is just throwing it on the level of these elite guys that you pay him like that? Is Kyler Murray just the guy that's just throwing it on that level? We haven't seen that consistently on that level just yet. We know what he is altogether. But that's the exact same thing we say about Lamar Jackson, except Lamar has had a lot more productivity, team and individually. So that's why I'm like, you Lamar, bro, you about to go ahead and get the bag, man. Got to.
Talking about the market. Will it pop, though, is the question, because...
No, the cap is continuing to go up. I get you on that.
I mean, and we see with the NBA, the contracts continue to keep getting ridiculous. Like, Dame Lillard is not worth $60 million a year.
Do you think Russ is worth $40-something a year? $40 million a year?
Who, Russ Westbrook?
Yeah.
Hell no.
I just think is that, like, to me, with the Russ situation, I think that could be...
Are you talking about Russell Wilson or Westbrook?
Westbrook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Wilson's coming
trying
up,
to get
too.
a new deal. But
yeah.
If Kyler Murray gets 46, Wilson has to get 50.
At least, yeah.
Like,
yeah, because Rodgers
you see what I'm
50.
saying? Yeah. That's the perfect one. I'm just like, man, I don't know, man. I think it will correct
Buffalo and the Chiefs are amazingly happy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Amazingly happy.
Mm-hmm. Because that's nuts, man.
And I don't think Mahomes or Allen are mad. I think Mahomes at the time knew it was a little bit of a discount, too, with the cap going up. He was just like, I like it here. This is like a 10-year deal.
And it was
something
such
crazy.
a mega deal at the time, too. Like, yeah.
And I don't know how Josh Allen, you might be a little bit more knowing of this, but that seems like a little hometown discount, too. He likes it up in Buffalo, wanted to
we talked about even
get
with
paid,
he took a
but
little
still
bit less,
at the same time wanted to build a good team for the future. Yeah. All right, hold on. So remember the scenario about Kyler Murray being traded potentially a couple months ago? I mean, you got to be happy if you're Pittsburgh, like we didn't actually pursue that, or if that deal actually.
If that's
didn't
what they
happen.
were gonna pay, yeah, we're not. But we weren't gonna pay 46. No way.
Yeah,
we weren't. That wasn't in our conversation. We weren't. We talked about trading for him. We said this is why, because he was still under that rookie deal. You still could control rights, and we know if we wanted to do a deal with him, you could. But we were not talking about that deal being in the 46 million per year range. Like that was not. No, we ain't want him like that.
I mean, that's pretty much outside of what TJ and Minka, the rest of our defense potentially. Like, what would you say our top three guys? Cam, Minka, and TJ.
Is Kyler Murray worth that much?
I'd rather have the defense and take our chance with Trubisky or Pickett.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
If we did have Kyler, oh man, that's what I mean. I don't know. I mean, are we able
Does
to
Kyler
even
move
sign?
Your needle like that though?
Are we able to even sign Witherspoon, Levi? I guess you could for this year and navigate
you play
the
cash
cap
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have
Rams.
to pay up way down the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyler's obviously the more for sure thing over Trubisky or Pickett right now, but still. I think we're going to be good regardless of him, though, with how we built the rest of the team around us.
That is definitely the case. But once again, this is why I said I'm not surprised that Arizona did this, and this is why Pittsburgh typically doesn't do these type of things. We talked about with L. Bell, right? L. Bell, 400-plus touches back-to-back seasons, was phenomenal, rated the number one back, right? And regardless of the outcome, we don't know the specifics of what he was asking for, right? But we knew one thing. They still said, hey, man, at the end of the day, we're not going over this number. And this was L. Bell during that time we're talking about. I'm like, man, if you're not going over for him, I don't really see any other body that you would necessarily go over for in that capacity, right? But with Kyler Murray, I'm like, man, I can't even say the same thing about him. Out there in Arizona, like we're not looking at Kyler saying he's the best quarterback in his division. We're not saying he's the best quarterback in his conference. We're not saying he's the best quarterback in the league. Like, but you're paying him like that. That's bad business. But that's why their franchise, and why the Steelers, have had this sustained success, man.
What would be the franchise tag, though? It would probably be in that 40 range, right?
Pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's check it out.
Because if it's in that 40 range, all right, you pay a $6 million premium because you're the Cardinals.
Okay. But you're paying it a year early, though.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it, though. Like I said, with how they've been pretty much irrelevant. Kyler's supposed to be your franchise guy. Just pay your guy.
Let's see what the tag
keep
is,
him happy. He could be one of those dudes, too, like Brady with the Bucs. I'm not saying he's on Brady's level, but the thought of recruiting players to come. All right, they got Kyler. I know they're going to be a decent team. I'm going to go to that squad.
Yeah, we're going to see. I don't know if
I'm with you. It's an obvious overpay, but if you're the car, I feel like you just do it.
And that's why we said they are who they are. When you take that approach, if you just do it, I'm sure it's people out there that say, man, you just pay L Bell. You just pay this guy. It's like, man, you can do those things, but we know it's going to have some ripple effect, man.
Oh, it's way less. This is way less. It's $30 million, $29 million.
Yeah, so what was you saying, Deke, about this?
Well, I thought it was 40.
So now that we have this new information, how you feel about it now? You still just go ahead and pay him the 46, man?
Well, here's my thing.
It's just a $16 million premium.
No. Here's my thing, though. You got a guy that's disgruntled, and we saw what he did in the offseason in terms of stripping his social media. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, if you don't give him the deal, do trade requests start? I'm not happy. All this and that. If you were to trade him instead of paying him, you're going to be looking for Kyler Murray anyway.
Okay.
He's the type of guy you're going to be looking for.
Okay.
Whether through draft, trading. So with him being an 11, 12 guy, some people think, as high as 7 or 8. I don't think he's like that. I'm fine with that. I think he's worth the second contract.
Not the second contract. It's not the second contract. It's the amount of it, because what you're paying him takes away from other pieces you could bring in. So if you're paying him as if he is Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, those are force multipliers.
Do we feel the same way about Deshaun Watson's deal then? Because it's only $4 million off.
But we feel like Deshaun Watson is already proven a lot more in terms of when we watch him play. That's why the optimism around him. That's why the last time we saw him playing, he was already viewed as a top 5 guy. Remember, he led the league in passing that last year he played, right? His last full season. So it's a reason why the Browns were so willing to pay that. It's a reason why I was up here talking about, yes, I would give up draft picks for this dude at that time, without a doubt. Because we already know. We've seen a lot more. We've seen sustained. Like, it's different. I don't speak of Kyler Murray in the Deshaun Watson conversation, bro. I don't. You might feel that way, but I don't.
I don't think it's that far off.
That's fine. I don't always agree with you when we talk about quarterback evaluation. So that's why for me, it's like, if you feel like that, that's cool, man.
But like, let's just take whatever Deshaun Watson's done throughout his career versus Kyler Murray. I mean, I'd say it's pretty comparable if you're just talking stats. Now, Kyler, like I said, I don't like some of the faltering that's happened. But Deshaun Watson has also faltered in the playoffs, too.
Hey, at the end of the day, I would take Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I think that, for me, that's a debate. And if the contract number if that's like kind of the market right now, and the contract number between Murray and Watson is only $4 million, I don't think it's that deep then at that point.
To each their own. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think if you're the Cardinals, you got your franchise quarterback, keep him happy. You got the coach, like I said, that has the whole system designed around Kyler Murray. You got the guys in there like Hopkins, James Conner, Ertz. Yeah. Drafted a couple of these receivers too. You're in win now mode. Yeah. And I don't have them as the favorite in the NFC West or anything like that, but who's to say? It's a new year. You go on a little bit of a run. Like there's definitely been teams that have surprised me before, and Kyler's still young. I think that's one of the greatest things that's in his benefit too. Yeah. And I think he's got a good arm.
I just think it's funny. Prior to a guy making 46 a year, the optimism is never as high. Now that he makes 46 a year, we're trying to justify. We're like, you know what? No, anything can happen. Yeah, this could be the year. Oh, yeah, this could happen. I just
don't really know what your alternatives are. I mean, you could have done the hardball thing. You could have done that. But do you want that in your organization?
This is the thing.
If you're the Cardinals.
We're not talking about playing the hardball. We're not talking about the alternative. We're just simply looking at the number and the other guys in that class.
I agree. He's overpaid.
That's the part.
I agree.
That's the part.
I 100% agree. He is overpaid. He's not as good as Mahomes and Allen.
Right, because when you're talking about what could they have done, I mean, it's not a lot of nice things that you could do. But at the same time, part of that is because of him taking that first step of making it nasty, right?
What if he wanted 51? You know what I mean?
You supposed to just pay it?
No. But what if that was like the middle ground? What if that was?
Like I said, I'm just glad that this not the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's not how they operate. So yeah, I'm good with that. Arizona, that's what they do. And that's why they are who they are right now, man.
Well, the contracts in general, not even just speaking of quarterback, the receivers too. Like some of these are going to be interesting to see how the market fluctuates, bubble pop, whatever it is.
Kyler getting 46. Lamar has to get 47 to me. But if I'm Baltimore, I don't necessarily want to do that because I'm looking at it kind of like how, over here in Pittsburgh, man,
Who's the next guys after Lamar then? Burrow, Herbert.
But they're still like 2 years off, though.
It would be next offseason. I think it would be after their third year, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess so then, yeah.
So, they would be deserving of 50-plus at that point.
If Kyler Murray is getting 46-1. Because in negotiations, all I need is a dance partner. Mm-hmm. And that's why I keep saying his name, because when you go to the negotiation table, I don't care about any other person you going to bring up. That's the guy right now. And if that's his floor, my numbers are better than him, that's my floor now. You know what I mean? Or if that's where he got and my numbers are better than his, man, I'm not taking anything less than. That's the whole Deontay Johnson conversation. We're like, yo, if you're Deontay, why would you take anything less than this when you already know that's what you're going to get, plus more?
And who's after them? The rookies from just last year. Lawrence and Wilson.
Yeah.
So, and Jones. So,
and
no one's deserving of that right now.
Yeah. Because they pay, this is literally Kyle's, third year, right? Or he just finished his third season.
Yeah.
I don't even.
I think after Herbert and Burrow could be the point where it drops off.
I was going to ask you though, with Burrow and Herbert, would you pay them 46 mil?
Yeah, I mean you have to keep them. I mean, yeah.
I didn't have to keep them, but that's what we're going with this thing then.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean if Watson's getting 42, if Dak's getting 40, Mahomes 45, Allen 42, they're in that category. It's just all going to depend on what they want. Do they want to be the guy setting the market, or do they want to just be in that range and say, hey, give the rest of my money to someone else? Let's build a team.
Oh,
I think they're deserving.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. I mean, Brady was taking.
He was taking crazy less. Crazy less. Yeah. He was in like 25. He's like, oh, how you doing that, man? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's even with the Bucks. I mean, think of when he was with the Patriots when the market was way less because the money coming in wasn't as much.
Yeah.
I think some of the numbers, it got to the point maybe Ben's contracts were around in the 20 range, like Peyton, Rodgers, 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
He was 17th, 18th highest paid quarterback in like the teens and like 10 or 11. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Patriots benefit from that.
Yeah. Once again, man, I'm glad that we're not paying anybody 46, and the guy that we are paying like that is clearly the best player at his position in terms of the TJ Watt element of it.
Well, this is what I'm wondering, Pickett starts playing really good. I wonder what that contract's going to look like at that point.
We got to give him 52?
After Burrow and Herbert potentially sign theirs. But that's what I'm saying. Could we catch a break in between the Burrow, Herbert, and Mac Jones and all that?
You know why? Because Kenny is Joe Burrow. You already told me that. And
he's a hometown guy.
And if Joe Burrow,
he knows what it's like.
And if Joe Burrow is better than Kyler Murray, who just got 46, then Kenny's gonna get like 50.
Pickett's a Pittsburgh guy, though.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, it's a new era. Acrisure. Remember, it's about the money now. Yeah.
That's why I'm interested in all this stuff.
Yeah, this could get real gory really quick, man. Because what happens is this, man. You pay those guys like that because you feel like, hey, we don't have a choice, and then they don't live up to the money in terms of being those force multipliers, because the more you pay them, once again, you're losing out on quality players offensively, defensively. Now this guy has to be able to account for all of that. And
or you got to have good coaching.
You have to have players that can account for all of that, man. Trust me on this, dude. And if you're not having that, you get these. How many teams do we see, man, where they got a guy where it's like, yo, all their money is in this guy right here, but he is not living up to it, or he gets hurt. Oh, that's the worst, right? And then you just got to endure, and this is gory, it's ugly, it's nasty. That's what we really haven't had to endure. And I'm hoping that we don't do it anytime soon. But for Arizona, you got to be careful about that, man.